Hello everyone. Today I'll talk to you about the latest update of the free Minimap system that I created. This new update takes the system to another level with major changes and multiple improvements. First, as you can see, I created a full project specifically to test the system in. The current Minimap system now supports versions 5.2 and above up to 5.7, with an interface that makes controlling the Minimap settings extremely easy. With just 3 or 4 clicks, the Minimap system will be ready to work in any of your other projects. And yes, I added a button at the top of the editor that gives you quick access to the Minimap settings. As usual, if you face any issues with the system, you can head to Discord and present the problems there. I would also be extremely grateful if you leave a positive review on the project's page on FAB, as it would be a huge support for me. I would also greatly appreciate any support for the project. So, without further introductions, let's jump straight into the topic. First, I'll give you an overview of the project and its related settings before moving on to explain how to transfer it and prepare it for your other projects. Now, as you can see, the minimap appears at the bottom and follows the player's location in the world. The map shows all paths in the world along with the player's position. You can also open the full area map by pressing Tab. Through it, you can track your position on the full map and even track NPCs moving on it. We can move and try heading toward one of the NPCs by following its location on the map. And yes, there it is, exactly where it was marked on the map. If we open the map, we'll see that its position updates continuously based on its real location in the world. Now, let's try going to other NPCs on the map. This will take time, so let's speed up the video. Let's try heading to the NPC marked in red. As a note, you have full freedom to control the map settings such as path transparency and color. I'll show that later. You can also assign any icon you want for NPCs on the map. Another thing you can try is using the map in racing games. You can simply go here and you'll find yourselves in this mode, inside a car with different map settings. If we open the full map, our position will be displayed, while the background, I personally removed it because it feels better this way. And don't worry, I'll guide you through preparing all these settings, and it won't take more than half a minute once you understand them. Before finishing, here's a test I did to measure how much engine resources the system consumes. If you look closely, you'll see the usage rate is literally close to zero. This system barely consumes about 1 frames per second overall, even with the update path and runtime option enabled. So its resource usage can be considered almost non-existent. That was one of my goals when creating this system, making it lightweight and not affecting your game's performance. Now that I've finished presenting the system overall, we'll move on to how to transfer the Minimap system into your project. From here, you'll find 2 folders. We only need the ACO_Minimap, the other one isn't necessary. From here, we click Migrate. I'll also assign the example content folder just to save time explaining things in other projects, not because it's required. After that finishes, I'll close this project and open the one we migrated the system into. Alright, I've opened the new project where I moved the Minimap system. The first thing we need to do inside the ACO Minimap System folder is look for something called Tools Additive. All we need is to run this file once after migrating the project. As you'll notice, a shortcut button is automatically created at the top. When you press it, all the Minimap settings appear and we can change them freely. Next, we need to assign 3 things before the system works. First, we assign the player here, which will be the third-person character. Then, inside the third-person character, we add ACO spline info. Finally, we search for an actor called Box Bounds and place it in the world. I'll just scale it to match our world size. Yes, that's better. Now the system is ready to work. We only need to add the Minimap widget so it appears using the normal Create Widget node. What we need is a widget called Minimap_showup. Moment of truth. If we do a quick test now, the mini-map appears on the screen with the player indicator. But currently, the map only shows the player's position, which makes it boring and confusing. Before continuing, I'll hide the box bounds so we can focus better. Next, we can use actor_spline_track to build a path using a spline. It's just a normal actor with a spline component added to make path editing easier. It's better to switch the view to top. I'll create a random path quickly. After creating it, we go to Add Path here and select the spline we placed in the world. And just like that, we have our first path visible on the map. For the full map, we only need to go to Input Mapping and add a new input action called Full Map and assign any key you want. As you can see, we now have full access to the full map. We can also control spline path settings on the map like color, size, and number segment. The number segment controls how smooth the path is. The higher the value, the smoother the path. Let's reduce it to 20. Yes, now the path looks broken instead of smooth. Next, let's talk about showing NPC locations on the map. I'll use an NPC from the Minimap project and place it in the world. To make it move, I'll add a nav mesh bound volume. Then, in the Minimap settings, under TR Actor, we add a new item. Here we assign the NPC character and the icon that will appear on the map. For some reason, the engine doesn't display the real icon preview here, but that's fine. Let's test. As you can see, the NPC moves randomly in the world while its position updates on the map with the same icon. Before continuing, let me quickly fix the lighting. That's better. We can scale the NPC icon from here and change its color too. To change the player indicator, go here, and replace the texture. Now the icon we selected appears as the new player indicator on the map. You may notice warnings appear when running the project. That's because we didn't assign an actor path yet. As long as the warning isn't red, you can ignore it. In the debug section, you can enable turn off warning to hide them. Now, if we try changing Minimap settings during runtime, we can't. To do that, we open the data Minimap file and keep it visible. Now, as you can see, we can modify the map settings in runtime. First, we have center scale, and it determines the center of the player indicator on the map. You can move it to the right and left and up and down. You can also control the map zoom to make it smaller or larger as you wish. The default value is between 0.1 up to 3. You can increase it to more than 3, but that will cause distortions in the paths due to excessive zoom, so it is preferable not to exceed the value 3. As for the location track method settings, they determine whether we will rely on world coordinates to calculate our position on the map or on the spline coordinates, and I will explain it to you more later. As for map bound, it determines whether we will rely on spline to define the map boundaries or on box bound, which is the one we hid at the beginning. I am talking about this. And also, if we set the option base on spline, some options will appear here, but we will return to them later. As for rotation type, if we set this option, we will notice that the map rotates with the player's rotation. And this is unlike the no rotation option where the map remains fixed. As for the last option, as shown here, its effect will not be activated except when selecting the spline track option. The other options I think are clear. The first is opacity map, and yes, for note, some variables still do not support being changed in runtime, as this will be added over time. You can also control the transparency background of the map as you wish. As for Draw Custom Map Border, it allows you to add any type you want to surround the map with. And Draw Simple Map Border draws a small black outline on the map that will be clearer if you make the map background transparent. I use it normally for development purposes. The rest is also clear, so it really does not need explanation. After finishing this, let me now explain to you the benefit of the spline track option here and base on spline. When setting these two options, we choose the main spline through which the map boundaries will be defined and the way to track on it. Currently, I will choose spline track. And yes, I returned location method to world track so I can show you the effect of map bound type first. And I will leave the rest as it is. Now, the first thing you will notice is that the map boundaries have become larger, and we still also have freedom to move on the map as we wish. We can control the color and size of the path as well as its smoothness as before, but this time let us use spline track. Now, if you notice, The system prevents any exit from the spline boundaries that were set as the world boundaries, and always tries to calculate the player movement within the spline boundaries. This setting is more useful in racing games, where I will show you shortly how to set it up for a car project. And yes, you must have noticed the problem that the path goes slightly out the map. Well, this rarely happens. But if it happens like now, go to mini_map showup widget, and in map size, just reduce the size of the square here. And yes, the problem is solved here. Now let us try setting the draw method to spline draw. When setting this option, some settings will appear, and we can change them in runtime until we get the suitable look for the path. As for the max side value, it determines the extent of movement on the spline. The lower the value here, the less our ability to move right and left on the path. And let us see. I think that is all. Yes, you also have this value here. It is better not to change it and leave it as it is. As a final note, if we try now, we will see the paths have disappeared, and this is normal due to our change of draw method. Since I previously put a note that paths here depend on the Sugment draw method. So yes, this is everything here. Next, I will show you how to set up the Minimap system for a car project and the best settings for that. Here already at the beginning, I will do the same previous steps to set up the project, and I will speed up the video a bit in this part. As for the settings here, we will choose Spline Track and Map Bound Base on Spline. After that, we will use Spline Track to make a path matching the circular track here. I will speed up this simple part. After finishing, we place it in Actor Path here, and finally, we display the Minimap widget. And yes, as you notice, the path and the player location have been drawn on the map, and it is already working. To display the full map, all we have to do is do the same previous method by creating a new input action in Mapping Context. And yes, we now have the full map. By the way, currently we are following the path correctly, but if we try to exit it, this is what will happen. And what happens is normal as the system tries to find the closest point for us on the path. If you do not like this, you can change Location Track to World Track. This will give you more freedom on the map, but less accuracy in tracking the path. And of course, you can fully switch to using box bounds as we did previously. But you will see that the path does not appear, and this is normal, so we must re-add it to add path after changing the map bound type. And yes, it appeared. If it seems small to you, you can either change its size in the settings or reduce the box bound to match the path size, which will make the world drawing area smaller. Here is an important note. If we now add a new path, let it be the same path but with a different color. The second path will appear, and the first will not. Does that mean the first path disappeared? Well, the truth is no. The second path was drawn above the first. Simply the one with the larger index has a larger z order and is drawn above the other paths. This trick can be used to draw something like an outline for the path, which definitely gives it more beauty. So this was everything regarding the Minimap system. There are still big upcoming updates I am working on that will take the project to another dimension more than this, with very big features that will make it easier and better to use, and even to draw full and complex maps. I would also greatly appreciate that you leave a positive comment about the project on FAB, because this helps me a lot and represents great support for me. If you encounter any problems in the system, you can leave your problems on Discord to discuss and solve them. Thank you for watching until this point.